Welcome back to the program, everyone. I'm sitting here today with Maria Tan. Maria, thank you for being part of the program.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me, Miguel.
Yes, ma'am. For those who are not familiar with the work you're doing, let them know about yourself.
So my name is Maria. I'm known as the business coach for Misfits and the creator of the Manifest and Multiply Money Map. Now, before coaching, I was in consulting, and I have helped more than 1,000 leaders across the globe to create a brand, to create a success in their own way. And I know we hear that a lot, right? And I'm sure this short video will go through what it really means. So that's just me.
You started selling trinkets at the age of 6.
Yes. Yeah.
So we talk about the entrepreneur mindset, the entrepreneur spirit. You had it very early on. Is this something that your parents or your circle nourished? How do you start selling trinkets at the age of 6?
Well, I am from a family of entrepreneurs, but the trinket route wasn't because it was encouraged. It was more of, I was the only girl in among my cousins, and we would be taken to arcades. Back then, you put those coins, and now it's a little different, but back then you have those coins and you play games and you have the tickets come out. And for me, I love that feeling of ding 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 ding, that kind of the tickets coming out, and everybody, like every cousin will have our own budget for our coins, right? But I'm a girl, everybody's a boy. So they'd be playing basketball, and they'd be playing, like, I don't know, this motorcycle and these cars. And, those games are much longer, right? And I wasn't interested in that. The only thing that I was interested in was getting tickets. And, I was looking at what is the game that would give me the most tickets. And I found this game that's like, I don't know, I don't even know what it's called, but, there's like a light going around. And then once you hit the jackpot, it's like 100 tickets. But that's really fast, right? Because, that's where you go hit and miss. It's either you get 1 ticket, 5 tickets, 10 tickets, or the jackpot, right? Sometimes 100, sometimes 500. But because it's all about that hit and that slap, and just imagine, right, Miguel, my 10 tokens are gone so fast. When you're kids, nobody cares, right? Okay, well, you finished your coins, your budget. That's on you. That's not on us. We don't care. And I'm just there sitting on the sidewalk, and I'm like really, really feeling bad about myself. And I started looking at, we were millennials, so it's a different time back then, right? Like, I'd have these gifts from my mother's friends, my big family, and that I didn't like. So I started selling them. I started selling them so I'd have enough coins to buy my tokens for arcades. And, by the time I'm done, my cousins are done too. Everybody's happy, right? Like, because nobody's going to give me. So, going to mindset, right? As a child, for me, business was really about opportunity. It was opportunity, it was exchange. That's it. It's as simple as that. There's a demand, there's a supply. At that time, I don't have any supply of tokens. I have a big demand of, I really want to enjoy my time here. And then I go home, I see those trinkets, I see those dolls, I don't see those stationery. And you know how elders are, right? They try to give you the things they think you should. Right. And you hate them. So, so I just started, I had supply of things it's really that kind of sense. It maybe on one end, maybe it is in my blood, but on the other end, it was just, for me, I'm just the person that goes for what I want from young. And I found a way to get my tokens and enjoy my time and get my tickets too.
So obviously at the age of 6, the focus is tokens. but how do we turn this? How do we turn this into 18-year-old Maria, who is now consulting businesses? Because oftentimes, individuals, regardless if they're old or young, they have the idea of, I can't consult, I can't lead, I can't coach. How do you get to that point that you're now consulting other individuals on being able to accomplish their goals?
I started consulting actually a company, not individuals.
Okay.
So back then, like because I was still a student, right? So my
Mhm.
market was students,
Mhm.
my classmates, the teachers, everybody knew me in my school. And then of course I also supplied the local grocers with dried confectionery goods from Thailand back then. So that was what I was doing. So in the summer, guess what? I don't have sales. I don't have anyone to sell to, right? So anyway, one of a family, like my mom, my parents' friend, she owns this retail company, so FMCG.
Mhm.
So she was supplying like bags. So bags, she has her own brand. She's supplying like the top malls, and at first she needed an encoder. Back it was the start of digitization, right? The
Mhm.
very start. So this was like in the early 2000, 1999, maybe 2000.
Mhm.
So I started doing that, like I was encoding, and then I was young. Of course, I'm faster than everybody, but like it's like,
Yeah.
just imagine, ask your 5-year-old niece or nephew to do something on the
Mhm.
computer, and they're much faster than you, right? So I was faster, and then later, I think I was moved now to accounting, and I started looking at timekeeping and all these sheets, and then I started now. I think my aunt was blown away, like with what I was able to do. And when school started again, she asked me to come every week. So she said, okay, I'll have the driver pick you up. I want you to consult with us on, let's say, like at that back then, I was very good at gaps. Like what
Mhm.
is, like at that time, their sales was down. And the one that the one thing I saw that contributed to lowered sales was their employees were unmotivated. So they becoming, because I was looking at their
Mhm.
timesheet, right? And all the time, like I think maybe 80% of the timesheets across the whole nation, like I would look at
Mhm.
everybody's timesheets, everybody was late, two
Mhm.
minutes, 3 minutes. And I know it sounds like so small, right? 2 minutes and 3 minutes, but for me, it tells a lot of stories. So that way, like my aunt was saying, I want kind of like, I want a fresh perspective, maybe a
Mhm.
younger perspective even. So I started doing that. So it was actually way before 18, maybe like 14 or 15. That was
Wow.
back then, yeah. Yeah, it was kind of like, and then she, of course, she knows my
Mhm.
background in selling and buy and sell from, it's a small community.
Right,
So
right.
she knew all that.
When we talk about the entrepreneur spirit and the CEO mindset, oftentimes, we may elevate our thought to the Fortune 500 people or Fortune 500 companies, and it's like, well, I'm obviously not going to be on the Forbes list, right? So then it's like, well, I don't have the CEO mindset, but it seems to be that the CEO mindset is much more simpler because a 6-year-old had it, an 18-year-old have it. And so, how do we explore and develop the CEO mindset? And I suppose the better question is, what the heck is it?
So let's start with the idea of the CEO mindset,
Hmm.
right? If you think of, let's say, any top, or look at the Fortune 500,
Hmm.
what is their focus on a daily basis? They're not focused on the limitations. They're not focused on the cost. They're focused on their desires. So they're focused on, what am I creating? What do I want? And I think society has told us not to dream, right? Oh, don't be a dreamer, you won't succeed, etc. So the one word that separates the CEO mindset and the employee mindset is the word limit. For an employee mindset, it's very limited to the task at hand. Oh, that's not my job. Why should I do this? That's not my job. But the CEO mindset is so focused on what it wants to create. There's no limit. It's more of, I remember, who is this? Jeff Bezos. Yeah, Jeff Bezos, who wanted to the same day delivery with Amazon, and
Hmm.
everybody on his board was like, no way. But Jeff Bezos was just focused on, how do we do it? I'm sure everybody, because at the end of the day, I think it's like, I think in entrepreneurship, it's always who has the most conviction, not necessarily passion, because passion can easily, I think I see it as a fire. It can easily be, killed.
Hmm.
Like a naysayer, a troll can kill your spirit very fast.
Hmm.
But if you're so committed to that idea that you want to birth, whatever that is, that idea, the world, the new vision that you have, it is possible because you're not looking for the limits. You're only looking for how can we make it work.
Mm,
You're not looking for any reason why it will fail. And of
mhm,
course, there are reasons. Don't get me wrong. There are reasons. And that's why I think a CEO always needs to have a good COO to balance it out, to keep everything in
mhm,
check. But at the same time, we kind of like really want to look at where are we focused? Where are we going? And for me, all like I've coached so many people, and all of them will come and tell me, Maria, I know what I want. But when I ask them to articulate that, I can guarantee you they don't know how to. They realize I didn't even know what I wanted, because
mhm,
that concept they have in their mind is something like, I just want to be paid to be me. I just want, I don't know, X amount. I just want to have as much ridiculous money as I want. But there's a lot of like details there. And the CEO, yes, you're focused on the opportunity, but you're also seeing all of it functioning all at the same time, right? You're not looking at, oh, when I get to, I don't know, 6 figures, I'm done. So
mhm,
if you look at the top, they're not, of course they love money, right? But money is not the end goal. It's a bonus. It's a given in this world, right? Of course we want to be monetizing all the time. So I think that's the difference with a CEO mindset and employee mindset, and how like everybody who's listening here on it, you can apply the CEO mindset in relationship. You can apply the CEO mindset with your finances, with your dreams. If you're still a student, with with where you see yourself. It's more of what is it that you want, and what are you willing to do to get there? Who are
mhm.
you willing to be to get there? Because I can guarantee you, everybody will tell you your crazy idea is crazy, until of course somebody pays you for it, and like, oh my God, why didn't you ask me to invest in your business?
Yeah, I love the comparison versus the CEO and the employee, right? The employee mindset is, okay, when's the next paycheck? What's my
Yes,
next project? And I've even heard people who say, well, I don't work here, or I just work here, right? And it's like that's a lack of ownership and an alignment of values with yourself and the organization. Because if I'm going to this organization and clocking in and out every single day, that's 8 hours a day, roughly 40 hours a week. And to just say, well, I just work here. It's like, how you I just work. That's like me saying I just live here. I just live in my house, but not be associated with
yes,
all of the things that need to be done.
yes. It's like I think people are afraid to be
Mhm.
invested,
Mhm.
because they're again, it's the limitation of, oh, I was disappointed in the past, I had a bad boss, people told me so and so. So I think that vulnerability to be invested and engage in what they're doing, I think that's a gap. And I don't know, I think society, or even school has taught us to be cautious. And I think
Mhm.
instead of cautious, I feel, what if our education was all about connectivity? What if we were taught that, what if you're just connected with yourself, connected with the work that you're doing, and just be present? Because there's a huge difference, right? When
Mhm.
you're there, you're present, like things would flow faster. When you're communicating with another organization, another department, you'll not hear complaints, but you're hearing for, please help me, how can we make it work?
How do we do this? Give us some strategy here. How do we have that mindset where versus seeing limits, we see opportunities and close that gap so that we could be much more vulnerable and in tune to these opportunities?
I think the focus is, how do I?
Mhm.
Okay, not I think most of the time, people, and I'm sure at first, when they first hear it, they will say, no, that's not me. But what I've seen is people are so easy to judge others, easy to judge situations, and people are so easy to kind of like say, no way, right? No way, no way, that's not going to work. But I feel like, what if we shift that? And it can be a pattern that you're not even aware of.
Mhm.
So every time you're feeling like, but I cannot do that, or but how, I suggest to add the word, how do I? Like, how do I? Okay. Oh, I want, let's say, I want an extra 20% income increase. Okay.
Mhm.
And of course, the doubt, the devil in your mind will tell you, no, you cannot do that, blah, 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 blah. I think you need to focus on how do I get there? And stay with that, how do I get there versus the no. Because I know like people tell you, oh, but I'm stuck in the how. It's not they're stuck in the how. They're stuck in the how you cannot, not how you can. Most of the times,
Yeah.
because they're now listing down the things that how I cannot. Oh, but I cannot do that but I cannot do that because they're not really stuck in the how you can.
Right. Right.
So
Right. Right. Yeah,
so
that's
so
interesting because it's like they're not stuck in the steps that are required. They're just stuck in
yes,
those limit mindsets of
yes.
how dare I dream this big.
Yes.
Yeah.
How dare you? How, who are you? How
Mm,
entitled do you feel? And I feel like that is the big gap. So it's a small shift,
mm,
really. Every time you catch yourself, that moment when you're thinking, oh, I'll give you a really basic example, and I
mhm.
think this will touch everybody's hearts. When you go to a restaurant, or not just restaurant, any takeout, whatever, or go to a friend's place, if you're served food that you don't like, what do you do? Especially if you paid for it, maybe a potluck, you've paid for it, or
It,
your restaurant, do you eat it or do you just leave it?
it depends. Most often, if it's like ordered, took it home, it's like that was not what I wanted, but I'm already here.
Exactly. See,
Hmm.
exactly. Because the thought of throwing it away, the first thought that comes to you, what a waste. What a
Yeah.
waste. How entitled am I? How dare I just throw away food when the world is, suffering, etc., 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 right?
Hmm.
But but why would you, for me, that just shows how much BS you're tolerating in your life.
Mm.
Imagine how staple food is, how very basic food is. So just imagine if you go to a restaurant, to a coffee shop, and you ordered, let's say, a drink that you wanted hot, you're served cold, you're saying, oh, that's okay, that's okay. You gave me hot, if you gave me cold, that's okay. I don't want to be a bother to others.
Hmm.
So just imagine, right? It's the same. It's like limit. I don't want to bother you because it's unfair to you or whatever, right? Like whatever that ego tells you. So now you're now closing off all the opportunities that is possible. Imagine how much you're tolerating by seeing money as a reward, by seeing the lack of money as a discipline. Because for if you're thinking, oh, but I'm already here, let me just eat it, the first thought that comes to you is a waste of money. I don't want to throw this away because I've paid for it.
Hmm.
So just imagine how many relationships are tolerated just because I've paid my dues here. Even though I'm not happy in this relationship, let me stay in this relationship because I've already invested a lot of effort in
Hmm.
it. So instead of looking for ways to not necessarily fix a problem, but to get to a point where you feel satisfied, right? Like maybe asking the restaurant to see, is it possible for you to replace? I'm not happy with this. Just to express your feelings. You
Hmm.
tolerate it, and you tolerate it until what? You're sick, the marriage is sick, the relationship is sick, the friendship is broken, because you did not dare find that opportunity of growth, find that opportunity of like saying, I'm not okay with this food.
It's very good. In the beginning of the year, individuals will set up a New Year's resolution
Yes.
or set up goals. And then on the other side, we have individuals that will set up one word, and this one word anchors everything they do. On this spectrum, if you will, are you leaning more towards one word or more towards setting New Year's resolutions?
For me, I think I always look at how my intention for every year is simply a little bit better than last year. Let me not recreate my patterns from last year. Because at the same time, of course, we have goals, right? So we just look at the facts. So what did I make last year? What did I achieve last year? I want a little bit more than that. That's it.
Mhm.
But more than that, I think I want the person of me. How do I respond more positively to what life throws at me? Because at the end of the day, shit happens. I'm sorry. I don't know who will tell us, like shit happens. I think all kinds of BS can be thrown at you. You can be trolled for every single thing, the way you look, the way you sound, the way you, I don't know, your nose, your mouth, how slim you are, how fat you are, you're not the type of, you're Asian, but not the typical Asian, everything, right? Like it would be. So for me, it's really about how do I manage my own emotions? How can I manage my own stress? How can I be the person that I still like looking at the mirror?
Awesome. So if you could, because I know that you said you lean more to just making those goals and those incremental changes to be a better you. But if you could have one word that encompasses all your life's work, what would that one word be?
Difference.
For those who are connected and want to get connected with you, how could they do so?
Oh, I am all across social media. I'm new to Clapper. I just figured out Clapper, but I am all across social media. My handle is @Maria_K_Tan. I'm on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Clapper. So do come, check me out. Let's stay connected. And I am here really wishing everybody listening that, at the end of the day, the CEO mindset, we all have it. But sometimes we just need to turn it on, because nobody, like when you're young, nobody said, oh, wow, you have a CEO mindset. When I remember when I was young, people hated the fact that I was going after what I want, because that was not normal. So I think it's really about owning who you are and allowing yourself to be okay that not everybody will like you.
Awesome. Maria, thank you so much for being part of the program.